Yes. Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and good evening for some of you in Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, Manila, wherever you are. This is Yield here from Amsterdam, and welcome to the webinar, How to Increase Your Online Impact. On the line is also my colleague, Christina, who is going to tell you a bit more in a few seconds from now about everything she knows about communications, about blogging, and all the different tools and options that we have available for you. Yeah, first of all, warm welcome. If you're watching, please say hello in the chat function. And what else? Oh, yeah, maybe one important reminder to start with. You've all received the report template for the month of June. And if you haven't done so yet, we really encourage you to fill it out before the end of this week. With that having said, it's over to you, Tina. I have to make you a presenter. Yes, here we go.
Great. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Yield, for the introduction. I'm Tina. I'm actually broadcasting from Madrid, Spain. Just a little bit about me. I'm actually from California, so a long ways away from here, but I've been living in Europe for almost 8 years. And actually, my family is from the Philippines. So I was very excited to know that we're doing a lot of work in the region, and I'm really excited to get to know all of you and to make sure that we can make a big impact online and through media and through everything. I oversee a lot of our communications work, our communications outreach, our digital communications, also event management, branding, and content. So a lot of things. All of you should have received the document that we put in the YouTube chat. Let me just show that to you really quickly. This document right here. So we're going to go through a bit of the things in the document and to show you how we get started. So we're going to start with doing a blog post. So 1 second. Let's go to that screen. Everyone should have received their username and password by now to get into our blog. So let's get into that. 1 second. Okay. So this is the login screen that you'll see, and you should use your username and password to get in there. I'm going to log in now as Yield, who has an account here. So you log in. If you have it handy, I suggest you do the same steps right now at home so you can see how to do it. You have to check this "I'm not a robot," and then they ask you a silly question to make sure you're not a fake person. You get in, log in, and then you will see this screen. So this is kind of the dashboard of WordPress. Don't be intimidated if you've never used WordPress before, because it's very easy to use. A couple things here. One of the first things that everyone should do is to make their profile. So you can go here on the left to the Profile tab, Profile, and here you can put your name, which is what will show. Your nickname right here is what will show when you have a post, and it's going to show at the bottom. So make sure it's spelled correctly. That part is standard. Here, there's a box for biographical info. I suggest you put that you would put ASEAN Youth Advocate in your country. If you want to add another sentence about yourself, you can. And then here is where you can upload a picture from here. So I suggest to put a picture on there because it will be shown in all the blog posts connected to you. And in case you need to change your password or whatever, it's right there. So that's pretty standard. So that's the profile. So I suggest that is the first thing you do. Once that's set up, here is where you can submit a post for review. So here you see posts. We can go to add new. So here is just the screen. I'm just showing you the mechanics, then I'll give you some tips and tricks on how to make the most of this. But it's very simple. You can just put the title here of whatever you want. And then here you can put text. And then if you want to put some pictures right here, you can go to add media. And here you can see there's pictures that have already been uploaded from previous posts, or you can upload your own picture that you would like to put. So you can go to upload files, select a file. You can select a picture. I'm just going to put a test picture right now. And then you put insert into the post, and then you can see that the picture would appear. Here you can click preview, and see what the post would look like. Right now, there's not much. It's just it doesn't, you see there's like a weird bar. I'll show you how to fix that. And then as you can see though, at the bottom part, this is why your profile is important. It's going to show your name, a little picture, and then the little bio. So this is why that's important, and this will appear in all of your posts. When you're in the post, there's something here important that's called set featured image. What this is when you click a picture, this is going to show up on the very top of the post. So I'm going to just click a previous picture. So now I selected this picture right here. And when I go to preview, now you see that that picture looks much nicer over the top, and then the post is at the bottom. So this is just simple mechanics on actually what you would have to do to submit a post. Let me go back to, so I just want to do a couple of things. I'm just going to say it, and then I'm going to show you some examples. When would you submit a blog post? Well, a blog post is something that we would consider newsworthy. So perhaps a larger scale event or a milestone or a big success, something that is a bit broader than maybe a tweet or a social media post, something a bit more so newsworthy. So as I said, a couple of things you need to keep in mind: a very clear featured image, so that would go right on the top. And what's important about that, let me show you our website so you can see right here. As you can see, the featured image that you select, it's going to be the image, the thumbnail that will get people excited to click the post. So as you can see here, it's very important to pick a clear image. Couple of things: pick at least 3 or 4 very good images. You can have more. We can go to an example of a post. Let's see, here's a very simple post of students who came to visit our Global Campaign Center in Bonn. So we had that nice picture on top. Some brief posts here. We talk about what was happening. We put some pictures on here and a brief description. So whatever you think is best. In the text, cover the basics of who, what, when, where, and why. So what's happening. So perhaps this is an event with a local official and you're presenting My World results, or it's some other type of event for SDG awareness. You have to be very clear to say what the event is about. If possible, with the people at the event, if you can capture some quotes from them, maybe talking about the Sustainable Development Goals, about My World. Let me just go back here to where you can see some of the other posts. Oh, it's loading very slowly. And what else? You can go, I suggest you go on our website, sdgactioncampaign.org, and you can see examples. As you can see, we have a lot of stuff on there because this is our organizational account. We have specific ones about events. We have things about things coming up. We have press releases. We have a lot of things about a lot of other events. Some of the things are from partners as well. So this is why we would really look forward to having your content on there. Once you submit a post from here, you can see here there's a button that says submit for review. Once that goes through, it won't show you anything, but you should get an email saying that the post has been submitted, and then we will review it, and then we will post it and promote it once we see that it's ready to go. So that's the how you submit something through the blog. A couple of things. Once you submit the blog post, like I said, we will promote it everywhere on our social media. We will include in the newsletter. So I really encourage you to put a lot of work into this and to make it look really good, because it has the possibility to be broadcast and shown everywhere. Now go back. Any questions on that so far? So that's the blog. That's just quickly how you go through submit a blog posts. Moving forward, we're going to go into Humans of My World, but that was very quickly for the blog. We'll go on to Humans of My World. So Yield, how much of an introduction actually have you given them on Humans of My World?
Thank you, Tina.
Yeah.
Very interesting so far. Well, we had a special session on how to do digital storytelling. Mm-hmm. We explained how to create the best photo. Where do you should look at the shots? Should the image be, or like the person be in the middle of the photo, or in the center, or left, right, all of that. And
Yeah.
then I also explained a bit more about actually how to conduct the story, what you should look at when you're doing the story, how to, for example, jump off your bike and approach someone in the center of a city and start talking, and what are some of the questions. So that's all what we did. We haven't been talking about how to submit it.
Okay.
And we haven't been asking what are all the details of, for example, the person you are interviewing, what details you need from them.
Okay, great. Good. So we're going to dive into that. And let me share my screen again. 1 second. Okay, so I mean, thank you, Yield. And you, as you know, Yield is has been a star Humans of My World reporter. I'm sure you know the Facebook page, just to get example and inspiration from previous series, facebook.com/humans of my world. And here you can see a couple things of what's involved in a story. We can just click one. Normally, so here's an example of a story from Sweden. Here they put the SDG that it relates to. It has the quote from the person, and it's also in the local language in Swedish. And as you see here, there's the accounts that were tagged. So this is an example of how it's posted on Facebook. But now I'm going to show you how you can actually submit your Humans of My World stories to us so that we can review it, we can upload it, and we can use it for series. I will tell you a little bit. So part of my work is I design exhibitions at events, and we curate and we pick the best Humans of My World stories, and we print them on billboards, on posters. We work with many partners throughout the world. So this is a very exciting opportunity to get these personal stories and voices from your local communities out there to the world. So this has been one of the most enriching and exciting initiatives, is especially the human face behind the story, behind the data, behind the Sustainable Development Goals is really important. So your submissions and your stories will go a long way. So here is how you can submit it. So in the guide we created, there's a link to a form right there. So once you click that, you can see here what it looks like. So it's very straightforward. I'm going to go through the account here. So here, all of your names are here, and you can click the name of who you are so we know who's submitting. So, I mean, I will click someone, Yin Lee. And then here, so for every series, you can do series in a specific setting, whether it's members of an organization or a community, perhaps it's students or your neighbors, some sort of commonality around it. So for the very first picture that you submit for the series, you can also go about it different ways. Perhaps you're traveling and you want one specific representative from the specific chapters. You can also explain that, what's the common thread. So here in these questions right here, you only need to submit it once per series, even though this form is for an individual photo. But for the first photo, you would submit it here. So it says here, please describe how you went about capturing the series and finding the subjects. So tell us a bit more about who they are. They're your colleagues, they're your classmates. Just tell us a little bit more about who they are. And how did you actually go about doing it? Did you actually do a presentation and spoke to them after? You attended an event? You asked your friends or your colleagues to refer you to someone? How did you actually go about and find them? And then this question here is, who are they? Just give us a little bit about who they are. These questions are important when we describe and promote the series. So we can say that, like Yield visited a youth organization in Morocco, and these are all the members of this youth organization. And then he, this is an example if you look at the previous series, so we can describe who they are and what their relationship is. So you only need to submit that once for the whole series. And then here is where you can upload an individual picture. So you have to do this actually each time, but for the previous questions, it's only once per series. So you would browse, and one thing that we mentioned is if you don't have a Gmail account, right now I'm logged onto my Gmail, but if you don't have a Gmail account, we created a general one over here. that you can use to log on, because you will need to log on to Gmail to upload it. And here you can select a file. So I'm going to upload a picture right now, a test one. Upload, it's only going to allow me to upload one picture. So right now, one picture is uploaded right there. And then actually, you would put the name of the person. This is optional. If the person gave you their permission to put their name, you can put their name right there, and we can include this in the picture or not. And then you can put the age as well. Same thing as if they said they were willing to give it, you can put the age of the person there. Here, where was the photo taken? So pretty straightforward. You can put the city and the country. Now, a couple important things here. Their personal testimony, so what they're talking about and how it relates to the SDGs. We encourage you to capture them in their local language, So if you have the story in the local language, and we will publish it in the local language and with English, we will, sorry, all these windows going crazy, put them here. But what's really important is we need it in English as well. So if you have it from the local language, you have to translate it into English, and we will use both. But if you have just English, that's okay, but it's best to have both. And now for this question, it's important to check the SDGs, which most directly applies. Perhaps the story may apply to several, but I would say pick the one that it's most closely related to. I mean, it could be maybe 2 or 3 of them, but pick the one that you think is most closely related, because this will help us when we classify them and also when we create exhibits. And here is very important at the bottom. You have to certify that the person in the photo has signed the release form. This is very important. We put a link right here, which I'm going to open up so you can see what it looks like. And it will open up. So this is the release form, and I must stress this is very important that we need this for all of the subjects. It's standard language giving consent to the UN SDG Action Campaign and partners, authorizing us to use the image for events and for awareness. And just very simple here is, and you could put several on here, you just get their name and their signature as minimum. Email address, perhaps, if they want to receive the picture links later, but the most important is the name and signature. So for all Humans of My World stories, this is a requirement, and that's why here on the form you have to put yes. So once you fill that out, I'm just gonna put this in. So test, submit. And then once you submit it, we will get a notification that we got that. As I know there will be several, you can go back and then you could submit the next one. When you submit the next one, you don't need to, like I said, you don't need to fill that out. You just need to put the image. These are optional if the person authorizes it. Required to put the city and country, the caption, and the goals. So do that for all of them, and this way we will receive them, all the pictures. Once we receive the entire series, we will work to put them together to promote them, and we may get in touch with you if we need additional information. So that is how you submit the content to us. And on a similar note, the same way for submitting the Humans of My World stories, I'm also going to show you a form that you can use to submit other general images and videos with us. So here's an example of that form. It's similar, but more general. So if you're submitting photos or videos from an event, you can do that here. And this is for, as we mentioned, this is for record keeping. Some of them we will use for social media, and some of them is to see the progress of your activities. And then here you put the description of what it is. So you can say if it was an event, and then you put the date and the location. As you see that these are kind of optional, this is the most important thing, and this is how you submit stuff to us. And here's where you could submit them, whether if there are images. So here you could submit several images at once and put a description of the things you are submitting to us. On the next one is where you could submit videos. So here you can submit videos and submit them to us that way. And then at the end, put the SDGs that you think that the things apply to, similar like before. And then again, the release form, and then submit. And this is how you can submit content to us. Hopefully that makes sense, because we are looking forward to receiving lots of exciting content from everyone. It might sound very confusing, but we are here to help you through the forms, through if you have any questions. So that is how you can submit stuff to us. Any questions from anyone? But we can cover that as well later on when we have the follow-up session. Now, a quick thing on social media. So the UN SDG campaign, SDG Action Campaign, we use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but we also have LinkedIn and YouTube. So we have a variety of different channels. I know some of you may be using different channels in a local context. I want to stress the platform that you decide to use should be the platform that you think speaks most directly to the people in your community. So if you're in an area that uses one or the other, or perhaps another platform that we don't know about, we'd love to hear about what it is. So use the platform. You don't need to use all of them. Use whichever one you think will allow you to reach the community. And also when, as it goes without being said, but use the local languages as the way to reach the community. We definitely strongly encourage you to do that. For hashtagging though, so that we can keep track of all of the exciting efforts, the hashtag we will use is the hashtag #MyWorldASEAN, which is also in the document. So hashtag #MyWorldASEAN. And then we also encourage you within the post to put a hashtag of the country you're in, and this way we'll be able to do better tracking. And then the other hashtag that we use to bring together all of our activity is hashtag ACT, and then the number 4, SDGs. So I encourage you to use those so that we can keep track of everything. And also tag our accounts. If it is through Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, our accounts for all of them are SDG Action. And that way we will be able to see what you're doing, we can retweet, and we can keep track of everything. Couple things, if you have an existing account, whether it's your personal account with your name on any of these platforms, I encourage you to use that. You know, you can say that you are ASEAN My World advocate and use your own account and you know, spread the word out. If you don't have an account at all, we encourage you to create one using your own name and identity and be able to carry that forward, where we can also use to promote your other projects. Although if you believe or aspire to continue promoting My World and SDGs even beyond, you can create perhaps a new account and let us know what that is. We encourage you to put My World in the account, but let us know. But then again, like I said, you may be using other platforms other than these main ones. Please tell us what those are and use those as well. We would really like to see that, because our goal is that you do what you can to reach the local community. Let me just show you very quickly. Let's see here. So yeah, the hashtags I mentioned, that's right here. I mean, very quickly, this is our Twitter. And like I said, this is very broad. We are promoting several different things on here, and every now and then we will promote some highlights of the activities from all of you. So this is what we would love to bring this with a lot of information on there. Now back to this, a couple of things I want to highlight is there are some international days, which are just kind of some milestones. So you can definitely, we encourage you to do a lot of activity and promote things, and perhaps even in your local countries and communities, there are some important days that you can use, and you can hook onto those in your social media messages, but a couple that we're highlighting here, so you can just take a look at them and see what they are, and you can use them, and if you click them, you can see the information about each of those days. And we are working very hard to promote the September 25th, which is the anniversary of the adoption of the Sustainable Development Goals. So this year will be the 3rd year, and we're doing a lot of stuff to put together a global day of action. So we will send you information about that later on. But these are just some days to keep in mind. And I actually have, go back to, yeah. So we have a very exciting challenge for all of you. We're really excited to hear more about you, see your face, hear your voice. We really want to promote the great work that you're already doing, that you're going to be doing. So we actually have our first challenge. Our first challenge for all of you is to record a video of yourself, just very brief, could be with your phone or have a friend record it, just like a 20 to 30-second elevator pitch, which means, you know, if you're not familiar with the term elevator pitch, is normally the time you're in an elevator going up and down and you need to like introduce and sell yourself to a person before you get off. So you just have that quickly and you need to be really succinct and you just say who you are, what you do, and what your goal is. So our idea is that these short videos, we will promote them. So I would say I challenge you to take your little introduction video, like I said, with your name, where you're from, and maybe a little bit about you, what you do in your community, and maybe a little quick thing about your goal in being an advocate, and submit it to us by July 9th. So submit it to us by July 9th. And for the videos that we get in time by July 9th using the media forum that I showed you, by July 15th, which is World Youth Skills Day, we will take some of them and we will promote them on our website, on our social media channels, and really get your face out there so everyone can see who you are. So that is our first challenge for everyone. So yeah, I think we went through a lot of information today. I'm sure some of you have questions. Yilt, I want to go back to you and see if you have any questions yourself or any follow-up things or maybe some housekeeping for next steps on how we move forward.
Great, thank you, Tina, so much for this. Very interesting indeed. Let me ask one question myself. So yes. I'm going onto Twitter now, and I'm going onto Facebook, and I want to share some of my content. Yeah. What is some of your advice? How much text should I use? Who should I tag in my messages? All of that.
Yeah. Yes, thanks. So for Facebook, so Facebook is interesting. If you're on your own Facebook and you have your privacy settings, say you're posting on your own wall as an individual, and you use hashtags in your Facebook posts, only the people who are in your privacy settings can see that. But if you are, so let's actually, let me go to Facebook. If you are, if you set the post to public and you use the right hashtags, then we will be able to see it. So let me, as you see, let me go on to mine and show you very quickly. Let's see here, screen share, and okay. So this is my own Facebook, and let's say perhaps that I want to write about, we want to write something. Okay, hashtags. So you can put the hashtag SDGs, but like I mentioned, we want to put the hashtag for My World ASEAN, and then put the hashtag for the country you're in, for instance. And then the other hashtag that we promote is Act for SDGs. So here is an example of the hashtags you could put within the post. But one thing that Yield asked is how can we tag us? So if you'd like to tag the SDG Action Campaign, you put the @ sign, and then you actually just start typing SDG Action, and it's gonna come up right there. So if the post you see here, I can set the post to public. If I set the post to public, then everyone can search through it. I can, and the UN SDG Action Campaign can actually, we will get notifications that it's on there. The same way for a post as well, if you are doing a post in a group. If you are on Twitter, similar, you know, like I said, you put the hashtags here. And as you know, if you've used Twitter before, oh, okay. When you put an image, so I'm just going to put an image right here. When you put an image on Twitter, there's this option for you to tag people within the photo. So here's where you can type SDG Action, and you can do that. And then you can also tag other people that will share in the guidelines. So this is how you would actually tag, and this way we get notifications, and this will promote the cross promotion between all the different accounts. So this is very simple for Facebook and Twitter. We do have a growing Instagram. So normally Instagram, you do it all from your phone. So you do it all from your phone, but our handle right here is SDG Action. But when you upload a picture, you can, here, yeah, if you click this, this is a picture from an event that was done in Brussels recently. And actually, you can see there's several people tagged when I click this. These are the people that was tagged here. I mean, that was relevant: United Nations, Denmark. This is the Crown Princess of Denmark in the picture. So a very similar way like Twitter. And this way, the people will get the notifications and we'll be able to cross-promote and share it. So those are ways. Always remember to tag and to use the hashtags, because it is very important for us to, unify all the voices and to be able to track it and show what the success is. So always use that. In the guidelines, we have the very basic ones right here. So those should be to start you off with. Yeah, so that's the hashtags and the accounts, Yield.
Great, thank you for that, Tina. And then maybe another question from my side.
Yes.
What should I do if I, for example, want to become active on Twitter, but I don't have a Twitter account yet? Should I create an account under my own name, or should I create an account for the work I'm doing? For example, something like Advocacy My World. What would be your advice?
Yeah, so it's kind of a personal preference. If you foresee yourself, I'm sure all of you are very active in many organizations and do many things in your community or perhaps in your university. If you don't have one yet, you can create one with your own name or a variation of your name. And you can use that for your advocacy activities with us and also with other activities you are doing throughout the community. So definitely use that, and you can use your own name. If either you don't think that that's the best option for you, or you actually, what we mentioned, you have an aspiration of continuing this work moving forward, moving beyond perhaps building a bigger movement. I know that we talked about in the past, Yield mentioned examples of like My World Mexico, Morocco, where, some individuals came together and made it much bigger, a bigger impact. And if you think that that is something that you are committed to being involved with even in the future, maybe it makes sense to create another account and of course target it to your local community. From there, you could use a variation. It could be something like My World and a variation of your contacts. But if you are thinking of doing that, please let us know first so that we could give you some advice or maybe some advice on how that would come about, and so that we can do better tracking. So it could be really either way. But maybe many of you, if you do already have your own individual identity, then use them. I know that in some of your countries, I've heard that perhaps people use Facebook much more than Twitter. And if that's the case, you already have an individual Facebook, so you could use your name, you could create groups, you could, on your own wall, make public posts, and then join other groups with your own name, promoting stuff. So it kind of depends what you think works best in your context.
Great. Thank you very much for that, Tina. Are there any other questions from participants who are watching right now? Does any one of you have a question for Tina? Okay, in the case that there are no questions for now, we can always come back to it later on when we have our cluster calls and clarify some things or whatever information you would like to have. I think, Tina, anything you want to mention or share with us?
Sure, a few closing points. If you want to change the camera, or can people see me?
Let me bring you in next.
Okay, thank you, Yield. Well, just a lot of things. Like I said, there's a lot of steps that we went through today, but these are all kind of how to submit content to us. I just want to reiterate that us at the UN SDG Action Campaign, we are here for all of you. We want the rich, exciting content. If you have any questions, we are here to kind of amplify your voices and also to help you reach the voices in your community, and also take all of the work you're doing and just take them to large scale, high level events. For instance, we're always active soon is the high-level political forum in New York, and then in September is the United Nations General Assembly. And there is an opportunity for some of the content and some of the stuff to be featured at these events. And then, like I mentioned earlier about Humans of My World, we take these stories everywhere. You know, we send them to media, we put them on billboards, we use them at events. So it's very, very exciting to know that we have this great team of committed people here. And so, and we're here for you. We're excited to work together, and we look forward to promoting your content on our channels moving forward. So looking forward to talking to all of you and getting to know you better soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this, Tina. And with that, I think we want to close the webinar with two last comments. One, to emphasize again, please fill out the reporting template so that we can have the one-on-one calls with you later next week, as well as the week following that one. And that's also my second comment. In the email you received yesterday, there's a link to which you can book a one-on-one call with me and my colleagues, in which we can discuss your strategy and have some final tips and advice. So please open that email and select your preference for a day and time. And with that, have a great evening, all of you in the ASEAN region, and we look forward to connecting to you soon.